You think God forgot about you? He didn't. But I know it feels that way. I know you've been waiting so long that hope is starting to feel like a cruel joke. You've been praying the same prayer for months, maybe years. You've been believing for a breakthrough that hasn't come. You've been standing on promises that seem to be taking forever to manifest. And the silence, the waiting, the delay, it's breaking you. You're exhausted. You're discouraged. You're starting to wonder if maybe God said no and you just didn't hear it. Maybe you missed your window. Maybe this is just how it's going to be. I've been there. I've stood in that place where faith and doubt wrestle in your chest, where you want to believe, but you're so tired of being disappointed, where you're holding on by a thread, wondering if it's even worth holding on anymore. I remember crying out to God, "How much longer? Why are you making me wait? Don't you see how much this hurts? Don't you care?" And in those moments, when the silence felt unbearable, when the delay felt like rejection, I heard something, not audibly, not immediately, but eventually, slowly, God began to show me something I hadn't understood before. His delay wasn't denial. It was preparation. It was protection. It was perfect timing. And everything I thought was taking too long was actually unfolding exactly when it needed to. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." An appointed time, not your time, not my time, God's time. And when that appointed time arrives, nothing in heaven or earth can stop what God has ordained. I started looking at stories in the Bible through a different lens. Abraham waited 25 years for the son God promised him. 25 years. Can you imagine? He was 75 when God made the promise. He was 100 when Isaac was born, a quarter of a century of waiting. And during that time, I'm sure Abraham wondered if he heard God correctly. I'm sure he questioned. I'm sure he doubted. But Genesis chapter 21 verse 2 says, "Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him." At the very time. Not early, not late. Exactly when God said. Joseph had a dream when he was 17. God showed him that he would be great, that his family would bow before him. And then Joseph's life fell apart. His brothers threw him in a pit. They sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison. 13 years passed between the dream and the fulfillment. 13 years of delay, of suffering, of wondering if God had forgotten him. But God hadn't forgotten. God was positioning Joseph. Every painful experience was preparing him for the palace. And when the appointed time came, Joseph went from prison to second in command of Egypt in a single day. Genesis chapter 41, verse 14. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. Quickly. After years of delay, it happened quickly. Because God's timing is perfect. I realized something profound. God's delays aren't rejections, they're redirections, they're refinements, they're divine appointments that we can't see yet. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." In its time. Not in our time, in His time. And His time is always right. Maybe you're waiting for healing and it hasn't come yet. Maybe you're waiting for provision and the need is still there. Maybe you're waiting for a relationship to be restored and it's still broken. Maybe you're waiting for a calling to unfold and the door is still closed. And you're thinking, God, if you're going to do it, why not now? Why make me wait? Why let me suffer? But what if the delay is protecting you from something you can't see? What if God is closing that door because what's on the other side isn't ready for you, or you're not ready for it? What if He's saying not yet, because yes at the wrong time would destroy you? What if the waiting is building something in you that you'll need for what's coming? I think about the Israelites. They were slaves in Egypt for 400 years. 400 years of crying out to God for deliverance. 400 years of waiting. And then one day, God said, "Now." And in Exodus chapter 12, verse 41, it says, "At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt." To the very day. God had a specific day marked on His calendar. And when that day came, nothing could stop the deliverance. Not Pharaoh, not the army, not the Red Sea. God's timing was perfect, and I started to see it in my own life. The job I didn't get that I was devastated about, 2 years later, I realized that company went bankrupt. God was protecting me. The relationship that ended that broke my heart. A year later, I met someone who truly loved me the way I deserved. God was redirecting me. The opportunity that fell through that made no sense. Months later, a better opportunity opened up. God was positioning me. Every delay had a purpose. Every "not yet" was protecting me from a wrong yes. Every closed door was saving me from a path that would have hurt me. And every moment of waiting was building my faith, teaching me patience, deepening my trust in God. Psalm 27 verse 14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." Wait. Not because God is slow, not because He forgot, but because He's working. He's moving pieces you can't see. He's aligning circumstances. He's preparing people. He's removing obstacles. He's doing things behind the scenes that will make sense when the appointed time comes. I learned that God's silence doesn't mean He's absent. It means He's working. When you can't hear Him, He's still speaking. When you can't see Him, He's still moving. When you can't feel Him, He's still holding you. Isaiah chapter 65 verse 24 says, "Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear." God hears you before you even pray. He's already working on the answer before you ask the question. So why the delay? Because timing matters. A seed planted in winter won't grow. It has to wait for spring. A baby born too early won't survive. It has to wait for full term. A cake taken out of the oven too soon will collapse. It has to wait for the right temperature and time. And your blessing, your breakthrough, your miracle, it has an appointed time. And when that time comes, it will be perfect. Maybe you're tired of waiting. I understand. Waiting is hard. It tests your faith. It challenges your patience. It makes you question everything. But Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." At the proper time. Don't give up in the waiting. Don't stop believing in the delay. Don't lose hope in the silence. Because your harvest is coming. Your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is coming. And when it comes, you'll understand why it had to be now and not then. You'll see why the door had to stay closed until this moment. You'll realize that every day of waiting was necessary for the fullness of what God was preparing. And you'll thank Him for not giving you what you wanted when you wanted it, because what He's giving you now is so much better. God's delay is not denial. It's divine timing. It's perfect planning. It's preparation for something greater than you can imagine. So keep praying, keep believing, keep trusting, keep waiting, Not because you're being punished, but because you're being positioned. Not because God forgot, but because He's faithful. Not because the answer is no, but because the answer is not yet, but yes is coming. Lamentations chapter 3 verse 25 says, "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in Him, to the one who seeks Him." Keep seeking Him. Keep hoping in Him. Keep trusting Him, because He is good. His timing is perfect, and what He promised you is still on the way. If this message spoke to your heart, don't stop here. In the description and in the pinned comment, you'll find something that will help you stay strong in the waiting, grow in faith, and see God's hand working even when you can't feel it.